This is Denise, and I'm here with Dan Pilla for today's Tax Help Minute. So, Dan, you talk a lot about tax amnesty. Tell me what that is.
Tax amnesty, very simply, Denise, is the phrase that I use to explain the IRS's programs of tax debt forgiveness. A lot of people don't think that you can negotiate with the IRS and get relief on the taxes or penalties that you owe, and that's not true.
So tell us, what are some of the programs? How do they work?
Well, let me tell you about the flagship program, all right? The key program that the IRS has that allows them to negotiate settlements with taxpayers is called an offer in compromise. Now, there's a number of different facets to the offer in compromise, but very basically the way it works is this. Let's say you owe $50,000 to the IRS and there's no way you can pay it. You go in there and say, look, guys, I owe you $50,000. I can't possibly pay that much, but I can pay, let's say, $10,000. Well, based on that scenario, you'd settle your case for, what's that, 20 cents on the dollar. And so this is an opportunity then for people that are buried in tax debt to get relief from these debts that they otherwise would never pay.
I think that offer in compromise is the one that everybody has heard of, but how do you know if you qualify?
Well, that's a good question, and most people have heard of that because they've seen ads on TV and so on, you know, promising all this relief. But the fact is that that a lot of people don't qualify. Most people do qualify. It depends on your circumstances. The IRS generally looks at two things, Denise. When we're talking about a forgiveness based on the fact that you can't pay, they're going to look at your equity and assets, and they're going to look at your ability to make a payment over time. So, for example, we've got our $50,000 tax debt. Well, if you've got a home that's got $100,000 worth of equity in it, the IRS is probably not going to negotiate with you because they're going to take the position that you can pay the bill. But if you've got no equity or very little equity in assets, and your monthly living expenses are consuming your income, it meets or exceeds your income, which is the case with most people, as you know, then in that situation, you're probably going to qualify for an offer in compromise, and you'll be able to negotiate for less than you owe.
So if I can't qualify for an offer in compromise, what other programs, products, you know, what else can I do? Well,
there's a number of other options. In the book, in my book, How to Get Tax Amnesty and the Tax Amnesty Package, I talk about 5 or 6 different programs that are available. One thing, for example, is you do have the capacity to get set up on an installment agreement. And so maybe you can pay the IRS over time. You just can't pay them all at once. But the IRS is threatening to levy if you don't pay them all at once. Well, in that situation, an installment agreement could set you up to make a reasonable payment over time and pay these guys off without them crushing you in the process. The other thing that I talk about in the material is penalty cancellation. And this is very important because I've heard people tell me 1,000 times, I can pay my taxes. It's the penalties and interest that are killing me. But the IRS doesn't tell you that the penalties can be canceled if you can show that you acted in good faith and based on a reasonable cause for your actions and didn't deliberately disregard IRS rules and regulations. So even if you don't qualify for the offer in compromise, there's a lot of different other ways you can go.
So how do we get more information?
More information is available from my website. You want to get the Tax Amnesty Package, and the website is taxhelponline.com. That's all one word. There are no spaces of any kind. Taxhelponline.com, or you can call my office, 1-800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NOTAX.